What is up, everybody? Wow, is it windy today? We have a zone versus Innova zone, aka the Toro video today. Let's hop into it. I'm gonna be making up a few holes here at Arthur O. Fisher. Basically, I'm just gonna be making shorter holes on the original 9 holes that are here on the front 9, that is. Mainly because I know I'm not gonna be able to get these discs very far, so I want the video to be somewhat entertaining. Hopefully we can get some birdies, and I want a bit of a challenge with the 2 discs. So for today's challenge, I pulled out a Z zone because what I've heard is the Toro is pretty dang beefy. So I figured let me get the beefiest disc, at least in my experience, which is the Z zone. This is one of my first shots with the Toro. Got a bit of a tailwind here. Oh, come on. The Toro feels like almost identical to a zone. It's a little shallower than a zone, at least from hand feel, and it's probably one of the flattest zone type discs. This one in specific is kind of like puddle top actually. So very interesting. Surprisingly, I blast past the basket with the Toro, although the tailwind probably did carry it, didn't take that into consideration. Wow. This is gonna be a true test of how well I play in the wind. All right, a couple of pars. I'm gonna say that's gonna be my warm-up hole. Even though I'm not very warm, I'm actually kind of freezing my ass off. Now, in terms of flight numbers, the Toro's coming in at 4.213, so it really doesn't have a whole lot of glide. It doesn't really want to stay in the air all that much according to flight numbers, whereas the zone's coming in at 4.303, so a little bit more glide, a little bit more fight to it. But we have hole 2 here. This is a pretty simple little hyzer over that OB grass off to the right there, and I'm gonna opt for that backhand just to see how the backhand feels. Sit. Oh man. Just past the basket with that. Put it on a nice little flat to a slightly hyzer angle. Kind of let the tailwind and the stability of that disc kind of take it over there. Oh, get down. I believe the Toro actually pretty much got to the pin, and the backhand grip felt a little bit better. Oh, let's go. Barely snuck it in there. Yeah! I swear I wouldn't be that excited for 15 footers, but if you were here to experience what I'm experiencing, a frozen hand and windy conditions like this, those types of putts feel good. I think everybody kind of gets down about having a headwind putt and would rather have tailwind putts, but I feel like headwind putts are kind of fun to putt because you can kind of just put a lot of spin on them, and the flight is just so interesting because it just floats to the basket. All right, hole 3 here, 210 feet, slightly uphill though, which is gonna make this a little bit harder. I'm gonna go for more of a flat release and just kind of try to huck this up there. Oh, look at it get over there. A beautiful shot that didn't even get to the pin. The stability and the fight to the ground was really evident there, and pretty clear that it doesn't want to continue forward for very long. Over there. I didn't really put the zone on a good display there. It really wasn't all that great of a shot. In fact, I probably threw the Toro with a bit more power. The zone still fought back in this headwind, which is good. The Toro seemed to fight a lot harder to the ground than the zone did. Honestly, the same distance away from the basket, which is kind of funny. But that's kind of a good representation. I felt like I threw the Toro harder and it still landed up in the same position as a poorly thrown zone. Get over there. Hole 4 here is 190 feet. Got a low hanging branch here, but I think I'm just gonna try and push one down the middle, low, see if we can get to the basket. Get left, get left. Wow. That held way straighter than I thought it would. That too. This left to right wind is really holding them straight. I thought they were gonna have a little bit more fight than that to it. Even the Toro was on hyzer angle, but it just couldn't get over there due to the wind. There's literally nothing I can do about this. Nothing. So it seems pretty reoccurring that you're gonna be able to throw the zone a bit further. It has a bit more glide, so it makes sense. The Toro, in a sense, just kind of wants to get to the ground as quickly as possible. You really have to kind of beef up on the Toro if you want to have any sort of distance out of it, which I don't know if that's really what it's meant for. It's more, you know, that approach disc. But even at 200 feet, throwing a shot, and this could be kind of due to the wind I'm dealing with, but you're still gonna have to put some power on it, where I feel the zone you can kind of tone down a little bit and kind of trust that the glide will get you to the basket. Now, unfortunately, I was gonna go 9 holes with this challenge, but I think I'm gonna put that down to 6, considering how much wind is out here, and it's a little bit nonsense what I'm dealing with right now, which is a bummer because today's Wednesday, that's my day off. This is when I get to make videos, but let's get back into this video to hole 5. We have hole 5 here. This is actually a hole that is on the course. I'm trying to hide from the wind a little bit. Hopefully this audio isn't completely trashed and I can use this video. I have no idea. That was probably the best shot I've ever thrown on this hole. That's absolutely parked. Oh, it gets over. The Toro is interesting to see fly because it gets to hyzer so quickly, whereas the zone pushes forward more and it'll land more flat. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw more skips with the Toro than you did the zone. Finally picking up a couple of birdies with these discs. It's been a while since hole 2, I hadn't gotten a birdie, but we also came down to where we're kind of hiding from the wind, so that's nice. And now the final hole, hole 6, is where I'm gonna kind of test out the anti-angle of the Toro. This is 160 feet. I'm gonna try to weave it around these trees here. That came out very quickly. It's thrown a bit too high. Oh man, bit too much angle on the zone. The Toro came out very, very quickly. Zone, I felt like honestly, I put it on too much angle for it even to have a chance to come out of it. Come on, dude. And just like that, the Toro wins from the last hole of the video. Wow, what an experience for a video this has been. This is by far the worst conditions. Let me bring you closer. This is by far the worst conditions that I have played in for a video. And I want to say that's slightly good and slightly bad. I wish it was a little less windy, but with overstable discs like this where you want to trust them, at least I got to experience probably the worst conditions that you could have. Here's what I'll say about the Toro. I feel like the Toro has a very good hand feel, just like the zone. Feels better in the backhand grip than the zone does, but as far as forehand goes, I think they're kind of interchangeable. Now for the flight, you really have to throw the Toro hard to get it to go anywhere. But if you're looking for something that just gets to the ground, where you can throw it hard and you can trust that it gets to the ground, potentially a little bit more ground play, considering it kind of lands on hyzer the majority of the time. I definitely don't think that the Toro and the zone are interchangeable. I definitely think there's some key differences to both of them where you might want one or the other, or you could even bag both of them for different style shots. Overall, if you're looking for something that's super, super flat, feels good for a backhand and really overstable in that slower speed, the Toro might be your go-to. Anyway guys, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one.